Good morning, guys, and welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new to the channel, I am Send It Steve. This is Project RJ. Now, this is not my project, guys. I know I've said it a time and time again, but this is a project by Tunnel Chaser. Now, you guys are going to want to go ahead and follow him if you do want to continue to see this build go, but I am just here to get this thing running mechanically and, you know, up to PA standards for inspection and things like that, if I am able to do it. Now, we did run across some of the issues that I do and will need to address. Obviously, there's not lug nuts on every single wheel. As you can tell, we have a little bit of a rust issue here. If you are looking, you can tell. Definitely also check out knivesdeal.com, guys, for 10% off. Use promo code Send It Steve. But I went ahead here and peeled this kind of area here, and you can tell like somebody put rivets in and everything. They didn't do this job accordingly or professional. Basically what they did was they just went ahead and put this over sheet metal that was already rusting, providing basically more of an issue than anything, because now the rust is behind here, and this obviously isn't sealed to anything, as you can tell. So basically all they did was hide the rust and then try to make it pretty. So we are going to have to address some of that. I'm going to go ahead and pull some of this body panels off. I do believe they make new panels. I'm going to see if we can get the panels from maybe like this body line down, and then we'll go ahead and probably weld them on, and then, you know, he'll have to take it somewhere else to get it, you know, buttoned up professional, if that is the route he wants to take it. But again, guys, knivesdeal.com for 10% off. Use promo code Send It Steve, all one word. Great pieces. Anyway, so a little bit more of the rust over here is where I found a little bit more of an issue. You can tell this here, and then we have obviously this over here, major part where it's kind of a big chunk that is missing. This is original here, however they kind of just tossed in a piece up here to kind of make it look a little better, I guess you'd say. But we're gonna go ahead and try to redo all this. I think this is just Bondo up here, honestly. I don't think it's anything too you know. Let's go ahead and rip this out. There we go. Now we can see into there, but you can tell here somebody just kind of like cut a piece and, you know, put a screw in it. I mean, it's in a little bit of rough shape, but you know, it is from the 70s again, guys. I'm not going to pick this thing apart, but we have some areas like this that we're going to have to address. You can see they put spray foam in it. That's actually disgusting. But going into some of the other issues is weather trim. All of the weather trim is shot. You can see it hangs out of the doors. Nothing actually seals. So when we open this door, you can hear, yep, you can even see the water dripping out of it. So we're gonna have to try to get door seals and everything like that, if that's the direction he wants to take it. I'm sorry that I had to do that, but I have family that is allergic to bees, and yeah, not really trying to have a bee sting epidemic, but we'll go ahead and kill whatever's in there. I'm sorry, I had to. So once you're into the cockpit, then you really start to see, like, there's just wires and wires. There's a test lead that just goes, you know, here to the ignition switch. The ignition switch isn't mounted. It is just a absolute wiring nightmare. So basically what we're going to have to do is pull, you know, the dash down and out, and figure that stuff out. Wipers, I believe in 1979 were vacuum related, so there's a vacuum line underneath. I will show you later, but there is a vacuum line under the hood that is just open and going nowhere, so we're going to have to figure that out. But let me jump up in here and we will see if we can get this thing to fire up. Alrighty, so now once you're into the cockpit and everything, sorry you guys won't be able to see me, I kind of have the camera facing down there, is you'll see there is the ignition switch, which is loose. You go ahead and put the key in, whichever way it goes, upside down. The van will not start, I didn't mean to, but there's a switch here for a fuel pump. You'll have to turn that on, obviously with the key off. It will not light up, so that is actually good that he has it on 12-volt reference like that, so it doesn't kill the battery or run the pump while the key's not in it. But you'll go ahead and obviously turn your fuel pump on. It is carbureted, so you have to give it a couple pumps. And then you wake the beast. So it does fire up for being, you know, a carbureted car and everything like that. I did take the top off of here because I wanted to kind of inspect this, but we're gonna get an air filter, get everything like that. So basically, it looks like he put a new carburetor on it. There is a plate down there, which is obviously like added horsepower and things like that. He did go ahead and put a billet distributor in it. However, I do not believe it is timed correctly, or there is an issue with that, because if you go ahead and kind of give her a little throttle, she wants to choke out. So I do believe there is an issue lying with that. So we'll have to address that. I think it is just like the timing. Or maybe it's a carburetor, but we'll get all that addressed. But now we'll go ahead and go into one of the other areas of issue that we have, is our brakes. So as you can tell, like, there's no brake pedal. The pedal just kind of goes to the floor. Definitely having issues with that. So we're gonna have to address that. But that is not just the only issue. Sorry guys, I had to get a family of wasps out of here. Now every couple seconds a wasp is coming up through, and I got allergic family here, so we definitely got to take care of our wasps before it is an issue and I end up having to go to the hospital with it. Swollen children and things. But the four-wheel drive lever, that obviously does not work. As you can tell, it is a Pathfinder four-wheel drive conversion, but this is kind of like floppy, so we'll have to get under there and figure that out once we get to that point. I don't think we're gonna have to get to that point anytime soon, but yeah. Man, this is freaking sketchy. There's just wasps flying everywhere. Look at this thing. Oh man, I'm not allergic, but I really don't want to get stung or bit by a wasp. Not really ideal. But some of the other things is the valve cover gaskets are leaking. As you can tell on this side, there is a breather that is wide open, so we're gonna have to get a PCV valve for that and everything. But we definitely need to go over this van. It definitely needs cleaned up and a bunch of things addressed. I've got to get this wasp to stand by. Man, there's so many wasps in this thing. I've probably got about 9 already, and I'm definitely gonna get stung. This is definitely not fun. Man, there's another one. Sorry about your seat there, Vince, but I got kids that are allergic to wasps, so they gotta go. They got to go. Those are like red wasps too, so they're not very, very fun. So that makes number 11 I got, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of terrified to get back in this bucket. All right, and then from here we will take you underneath of the van back here. There is a fuel leak. I will show you that now. All right, now as you can also tell, there is a fuel line that is back here leaking, and that's not a big deal. That's just sort of a rubber hose that we'll be able to go ahead and straighten out, but you can definitely tell it is leaking and leaking bad. Obviously that's not going to pass inspection, so we're going to have to go ahead and get that addressed. But that is also just one of the kind of underlying issues. Not a big deal, we'll get it straightened out. Well, that's a weird sticker. All right, as you can tell, you don't even need to hit the brakes and it will come to a stop. See if I can do this and kind of give you a tutorial. You can hear the brakes are stuck. As soon as you lift though, it just stops the van. So we're definitely gonna have to check the brake situation. Obviously you can tell it is not an e-brake issue. The e-brake is up all the way, but we definitely need to adjust the brakes. See, let off and it just stops itself. And we are aiming downhill. As you guys do know, my driveway is a slant, so we're definitely gonna have to adjust that. I did try to back up and go forward a bunch of times to see if I could get them to like kind of free up, see if they were sticky, but it does not appear to be the issue.
But probably shooting a video right now, so he can't reply.
What are your aspirations?
I'm putting my serious mask on right now, so everybody at YouTube knows I'm being serious, and everything that we just spoke about before won't be heard.
None of that'll be aired.
Go.
We'll cut all that out. Okay, so now let's get back into this thing. What are your actual goals as of right now, without me even giving you a list of what I've found so far? What kind of budget are we looking at here?
All right, well, that depends on what you just found.
Okay.
Does what you found mean you're stealing my engine and transmission for Bruce?
That's the Bruce project over there, guys, but no. Engine and trains seem to be fine. We're not on to that yet.
Okay, that's good. Are all the gears fine? Are the differentials fine?
If you think I'm going to take this thing down the road the way it is now, you're insane. Absolutely. All right, now we're going to go into the braking system. As you can tell, the front, like I said, it seems like something is locked up tight. I can't get that to spin whatsoever. You come to the rear, and these actually do spin freely. Now, originally I was thinking that the drums were, you know, over tightened and things like that, but after getting it here and trying to drive forward and back, I then realized that it was coming from the front. You're right, I'm not gonna bore you with all these. Wheels are off, and go. All right, guys, so we got all of the wheels off here, and we're gonna go ahead and check to see if it is a brake hose or if it is a caliper issue. Now, these calipers do kind of look new. You can definitely tell by the fitting on the top there that they kind of were probably replaced at one point. But what I'm thinking is that this is actually a brake hose issue. Now, as you can tell, this is building up quite a bit of rust underneath here. So basically what it's probably doing is pinching this line shut. So one way to check that is to obviously grab a pry bar here, and you'll try to pry the rotor, or the caliper. You'll try to pry that back. Obviously it does not move whatsoever, so if you go ahead then and break the bleeder open, you can see there. Did you actually see all that, guys? It actually completely broke that free, and I literally just squirted out all the fluid. So we do have a brake hose issue here. Then now you can see if I go ahead and try to pry back on this, number one, you'll see the fluid come out, but you'll also see that it is releasing this wheel, and now you are able to turn it free. So basically what we're gonna need is brake hoses here. I did think at first we were gonna need to do rotors and everything, but they actually check out to be fine. I'm gonna go ahead over to the other side and see if I can break it free, you know, just like I did this side. Obviously never use a power one, but let's go over to the other side and see if it is the same thing. But that's what the issue is here, guys. It is probably a pinch collapse brake hose right there, and this thing will be back on the road and rolling on under its own power. Let's check the other side. All right, I'm gonna try to lay this here and do the whole tutorial while you guys aren't in my hand. Not sure how well you guys will be able to see there, and I do apologize if you can't. But basically same thing. There is a I tried to pry it back on this side over here. The caliper does not release whatsoever. Go ahead and break the Zerk fitting free. I think you can already tell. Yep, yeah. I felt it release, or could hear it release, which you guys will do the same. But you can see it releases, and then you'll see all the fluid coming out because it is actually pressing the fluid out. Now basically the reason it's doing that is because the brake hose is absolutely collapsed and it's not allowing for the fluid to go back in. So we'll go ahead and get some brake hoses ordered and call Vince and let him know that he just needs brake hoses, and he dodged kind of a more expensive bullet per se. So let me go ahead and keep checking this thing out. I'm going to do the rear brakes now. They look fine. I can kind of see through, but I'll still pull them off for you guys to see. Alrighty, so the first thing you're gonna want to do is pull the axle out. It is actually all of these all these bolts back here. You can tell there's the axle sitting here, and then there's a little kind of retaining plate right here. Pull that up, make sure you put that out of the way, and then you see like the little tabs in here. Let me see if I can get it to focus. See the tabs like right here, and then there. They will actually go into one of the teeth to lock it. So you'll go ahead and pry that open, and I've already done that obviously. But then you'll just go ahead and spin this back and out like so. And there should, I think, be another one behind here. And then you will be able to pull your drum off. So let me go ahead and get this out of the way here. There we go. Now obviously lay these places where you're not going to lose them, or they're not going to get covered in dirt, grime, or rust. There's another retaining clip. That's your lock washer, so you go ahead and pull that out. Come on, baby. Needle nose pliers would work fantastic right here. And obviously 2 hands like so. Put that out. Now remember your order, guys, because if you don't, you're going to be up shit creek. But there's another lock washer in there, like I said. Can you see in there? So let me go ahead and break that free. I'm just using a flathead screwdriver, but they do make a tool, which I do have in the house. I just didn't grab it. So let me go ahead and get this washer out, and you'll be able to pull the drum off. If I would have used a smaller screwdriver, it would be probably so much easier, but this is what I had handy, and frankly, I don't feel like going in the house. So you just kind of spin it out, or you go in and grab the right tool and you'd be good. Or Phillips head would actually probably screw it out really fast. All right, guys, so there you have it. You have the drum off, and yes, you're probably looking at that upside down. The drum actually looks like it's in really good shape. The seal, obviously, somebody put in at some point, so they look like they're actually in really good shape. There's no scars or anything on the spindle there, but the brake pads look like they are in great shape, like somebody has replaced them. Now, we do know this van was rebuilt back in the 90s, early 90s, but everything looks to be good. So gonna go ahead and put this back together on this side a while and go ahead and tear the other side apart and make sure everything's good. But even the axle, everything looks great on this thing. So in the rear, we're gonna be good. The front, all we're gonna have to do is brake hoses. Let's get it tossed back together quick. All right, well, we got the wheels back on this one, the wheels back on this side. Everything, as you can tell, this wheel is now free. However, it does still have this issue. When you lay it down, it is actually still going to be locked up as soon as you put any kind of pressure on it. So we're going to order a brake hose and everything like that, and get that sent to us, and we should be able to drive this. So as you do know, I wanted to check everything and verify everything, because I am probably going to drive this a time or two before we give it back to him, just so that we know everything is safe and sound, and everything looks great as well on this side. No leaks, no, wheel cylinders not leaking, axle fluid or gear oil flying around in here, so we know that the seal is actually still in good shape. The drums themselves actually look pretty fantastic and everything for being a vehicle that sat for a few years, but all the seals and everything. Now we are going to go ahead and change the rear end fluid while we are here and before we get it back to Vince, but I want to get it up to driving before we do anything crazy. So let me go ahead and get this all assembled back together, and we'll lower it back down, because obviously we know we can't leave it hanging in the air anymore for codes. So let's get it dropped back down, and then we'll go get the parts ordered, and when the parts get here, we'll get back to it. Guys, well, there you have it. We have our rundown of what the van actually needs and what we are going to do to it. Now, I did already talk to Vince. Some of the cosmetic things, the weather stripping and all that, that's stuff that he's going to take care of, and I'm going to go ahead and take care of all the mechanical things, and then he will come up and pick up this bad girl and drive her home. So there you have it, guys. If you like the content, please smash that like button, please subscribe, and I will definitely see you guys in the next upload. Now, hopefully, again, like I said, this is not my project. This is actual Tunnel Chasers project. So if this is something that you guys want to see, where he takes us and what he does after it's mechanically sound and safe, definitely check him out. Again, his channel is Tunnel Chaser. Check him out. His name is Vince. Great guy. Definitely a pretty cool project for something in the 70s and early 80s. So again, guys, the other thing is the parts for the Bruce hopefully will be here this week. I mean, tracking said Wednesday, it's now Thursday. I talked to the UPS guy, or USPS guy, and he said it's kind of hung up in customs right now, because I did order it from China. So who knows, but they should be here sooner than later. There's literally no tracking number anymore, except for the last place it's known is it hit port in New York City. So again, guys, thank you for watching. Take care, and I will see you guys in the next upload.